Hi, I'm Kevin Hill, the Community Manager for Snapshot Games.
Kevin, what are you showing here at E3 2019?
So we have Phoenix Point, which is a turn-based tactical and strategy game from Julian Gollop, the co-creator of XCOM.
So talk about some of the similarities this game shares with XCOM.
So the main things that it shares is, first of all, you have the two different layers to the game. You've got the strategic layer, which is where you are sort of roaming the world in your dropship, building bases, assembling a team, researching technology, and you're essentially trying to defend these havens in this post-apocalyptic world. And the second section of the game is the tactical section, which is where you actually take a squad of your soldiers into tactical battles, and you have these turn-based fights against the enemy.
So is there permadeath in this game as well?
Yes, there will be permanent death. You've got full character customization, so just like in the old XCOM games, you'll be able to customize your guys, name them after your friends and family members, so that you get more attached to them when they get permanently killed.
So one of the key differences between this game and XCOM is that instead of, you're still fighting alien creatures, but they're more insect-like.
Yeah, what's actually happening in Phoenix Point is it's set in a sort of a post-apocalyptic world after the Pandora virus was released from the permafrost. And what this has actually done is it's taken DNA from humans and various different creatures and sort of put them all into this giant melting pot. So all of the enemies in the game are these sort of strange mixtures of humans and crustaceans and insects, and the mutation is a very big part of what Phoenix Point has to offer, because these creatures actually mutate throughout the course of the game, which means they get different arms, different legs, different heads, and they give them different abilities during the actual tactical missions.
And that can actually affect your gameplay tremendously if all of a sudden the range guy became a melee guy that you're fighting.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that's one of the main reasons that we've done this. We wanted a game that had a high amount of replayability, but also we didn't want it to be so easy that players would just be able to sort of cheese their way through by always knowing what the game was going to throw at them. So if the player always favours one particular tactic and that works very well against the enemy will evolve into something new, and that will force the player to change their tactics up. But there's also a random element as well, so if you replay the game and start a new campaign, you might not get the same enemies and the same mutations in the same order. So you can't always guarantee what you're going to face every time you play.
Can you talk about some of the new weapons and grenades and gear you can get in this game?
Yeah, so certainly there's a huge variety of different things you can get. Different weapon types for the Phoenix Project, which is the main player faction, but there are also 3 NPC factions in the game as well, and you can actually side with those guys or fight against them. There's a lot of politics involved in the strategic side, but each of those factions has their own tech tree. So depending on who you side with, you'll get access to different technologies. You've got normal ballistic weapons, you've got sort of railgun type weapons, laser type weaponry as well. All the old favourites are in there, like grenades and high explosives, automated turrets, rocket launchers. We do have fully destructible terrain in Phoenix Point, so it's always very satisfying to blow everything up and just level an entire map. It's a great feeling.
Do you have base management? Does that make a return as well?
It does, yeah. There'll be full base management, so you'll be able to have multiple bases in Phoenix Point. You're not limited to just having one. You can't pick exactly where you place each individual base. It's actually part of the story of Phoenix Point that you're trying to find all of these Phoenix bases that went sort of off the grid, and it's part of your mission to sort of find these bases, reactivate them and rebuild them. But one feature that has returned that a lot of players really wanted is when you get a base defense mission, you will be fighting in the base that you actually planned out and designed. So the tactical battles will represent the design in the strategic layer.
When does the game come out and what platforms will it be on?
We're coming out in September 2019. We are going to be on PC, we're going to be on Mac, and of course we're going to be on Xbox as well.
Because I have to ask, any plans for Nintendo Switch?
Not at the moment. We would like to go to more formats later on, but that's not something that we've got any information on right now.